In this next video, we're going to talk about 4 different tests that you can run on your website. So, what should you actually test? I mean, coming up with ideas on what to test can be hard, but I got you. So, one of the first things that you want to think about is where are the eyeballs on the website? Most of the time, people come to your website and they look at that hero, which is the top part of your website. And the headline and the copy within that is really, really important because what customers are really, they're trying to get something you're trying to really entice them to stay and not leave your website right away. So that's why headlines are really, really important and content is really important. So one of the couple ideas that we have here. So first one is having for your headline and your copy, think about value-based text. So thinking about get 50% more leads with our software versus discover the secret to more leads. Value-based is really, really important versus curiosity-driven headlines. You really want to bring that customer in because they have a goal. They're trying to do something. You want to make it really easy for them to understand the value. Another thing that you want to think about when you're thinking about copy is short versus long form copy. Now, customers you want to be able to grab them, and you also don't want to turn them off with detailed paragraphs. When you have long content, your customer is most likely not going to read it. So you want to think about bullet points and make it really, really easy for them to grasp the message that you're trying to convey. I've spent countless nights trying to come up with the exact bullet point that makes sense for our test. The other thing that you want to think about is tone and messaging. And this is dependent on your brand. So for example, when I was at Sephora, we had a very casual tone. At Adobe, I had a very professional tone. So it's really understanding who your customer base is and what's really going to resonate with them. And you want to make sure you're thinking through that and putting that tone in messaging because that's what that customer, when they read your bullet points, you're conveying that brand to the customer as well. Another option, so another thing that you might want to think about testing is call to action tests. This comes up a lot. If I want to change a CTA, for example, that's a call to action. There's been many tests where I've tried start my free trial, try for free, get started. So really thinking about, again, understanding your customer and what's going to really resonate with them. At Adobe, I've tried get started. I've tried start my free trial, and I've tested try for free. All of those, and different CTAs resonate with different customers. So it's really understanding that CTAs do matter, and it's really important to try out different phrases that would really make sense. Sometimes talk to a sales representative, for example, if that's important for your customer base. The other thing that you want to think about is how do you make the CTA pop? So making it really something that you can see on the website. So really understanding if high contrast or brand colored buttons, you'll see CTAs that are bright blue or bright red because they're really trying to draw your attention there. And then also you want to think about the placement of where it makes sense. Does it go above the fold? Does it go below the fold? Do you have 2 CTAs? There's a lot of times that you see CTAs at the very top of the header of the website on the right-hand side because customers are always assume that there's some action that you can take there. Those are all things that you want to test out and see what makes sense and resonates with you, customer. And then the size and shape. Really understanding, does it make sense to have a larger button? Does it make sense to have something that's maybe a little bit more implicit? So really thinking about, the overall shape and size, the placement, the color, the wording, all of these are different ways that you can test a CTA. Another testing idea is testing landing page designs. And this is really important for if you have a campaign, for example, and you want to come up with a really great landing page that's going to resonate with your customer. Some testing ideas and things that I've done in the past. So I've had a campaign for Adobe and we tested it without the navigation bar. So the customer couldn't, they really are kind of more focused on that page. It also kind of signals to them that this is a landing page. It's not part of the website. And so it kind of like, okay, I get that this is potentially an ad, but it really kind of focuses them down a path. Other things that you want to think about are trust signals. Social proof is always one that customers really do look at. So if you think about Yelp reviews, for example, testimonials, adding in those testimonials or logos to really kind of resonate for the customer and show that there's trust here, as well as case studies. Now, really kind of understanding where that makes sense across your journey. Does it make sense on a product page, for example? Does it make sense on a home page? Those are other things that you could test as the placement of those trust signals. The last thing, and this is probably one of the more important ones, is the hero image. Do you have an image? Do you just have content? Do you have an image of the product? These are all great tests to think about because that is the first thing that the customer most likely is seeing, specifically on your homepage. So you want to really come out strong. And so you could spend months, years testing that out and really identifying what would make sense. The other thing I'll say is that the designs change, the patterns change. So always keeping it fresh and being very open to something that worked maybe 6 months ago may not work anymore. So constantly A/B testing, specifically across your hero image on your homepage, is really, really important. And the last idea is testing pricing. And this can be tricky because pricing is somewhat, customers are looking at that pricing and they can be sensitive to it. So you need to think about the sensitivity of changing pricing and how you're communicating pricing. But some test ideas and things that you can think through is, are you showing on default a monthly versus an annual pricing to the customer? Do you have annual plans that you want to be upfront with and to really increase the commitment? I think the key here is to understand, what is your goal? Are you trying to drive a higher AOV, or are you trying to sell more product? So being really, really clear on your goal there. Other examples of what you could test in pricing: percentage discounts versus the dollar amount. So save 20% versus save $50. You really need to understand your customer sensitivity and really understand what makes sense for your customer, specifically when you're talking about pricing. The last one, bundled offers. Does bundle offers make sense? At Adobe, we did a fries test, which allows you to get recommended product in addition to the product that you're already buying. We saw that really resonated with our customer. So really understanding that bundled offer versus the single product pricing was really important for us. And it did really, really well. So again, it comes back to understanding who your customer is, understanding the pricing sensitivity, how sensitive are they to that, and then really identifying what's going to be clear and open for them to test.